Let's begin. I have a list containing some of my results from my test. The list entries are in the order of, first is my mark as an integer, my name as a string, my GPA, which is something we use at university, and the number of marks in the test overall, so the total number of marks, if it was out of 30, out of 50. In this case, I think it's out of 30. So now we've got our list down below. We've got my results. We'll execute the cell. As you can see, executed number 14. So my mark is 19. My name is Greg. My name's not really Greg. My GPA is 17.4, and the number of marks in the test was 30. I would like to, this is the goal for this advanced example, I would like to round my percentage in the test to a whole number. So I can use the function int to do this. Int will convert a float to an integer, okay? And to calculate the percentage, we'll use my mark divided by the total number of marks in the test multiplied by 100 to get a percentage. So let's use indexing to access the data in our list. So this is the percentage calculation down here. We've got my mark. So remember that my results is the list. Whenever you see my results, I'm referring to this list that holds all the data, okay? And then I might assign some part of my results to a specific variable that will say what this number or value means, okay? So for example, my mark is equal to the first position entry, the first entry in my results. So 19 is held in my mark. Total marks is equal to my results 3. That's the fourth position. So that's 30. So 30 is held in total marks. I hope you're getting the hang of indexing now. Remember, we count from 0. So I hope this makes sense. I won't go over it too much from now. So if you need to do a recap on it, go and watch Python 1 again, because I won't spend too much time on indexing, because explaining it takes more time. Now let's use the variables to calculate my percentage. We can use brackets the same way we do in mathematics as well. So we have BODMAS in maths, which says multiplying and dividing comes first before you do addition and subtraction. If you want to avoid that and define which order things get done in, you can use brackets, which is what the B in BODMAS stands for. So we've got brackets around the division, so we do that first. My mark, 19 divided by total marks, which is 30, 19 divided by 30, and then multiply by 100 gets us our percentage. However, we've done float division here with a single slash. We need to convert it to an integer. We can do that with the int function. That will convert our float to an integer. When we execute it, sure enough, we get 63 as our answer. That means that the answer is 63%. There it is. So now let's do the same for Greg's GPA and finally display all the information. Remember as well that variables carry over between cells. So I've got my results defined up here, and I can still use it below in the cells once it's already been executed and now it's running in the program. Okay, GPA calculations. My GPA is the third entry, okay, in my results. So now that's held in there. So in Glasgow, the GPA scale runs up to 22 on the top end, and we're going to do my GPA, which is, I think it was like 18 point something in this example, divided by 22, and then multiply by 100 to get a percentage. So now we can print out the percentage. Whoa, that's a big number. That's a big number. 79.09090909. I do not want my GPA to 13 decimal places. So I'll use a new function called round. The syntax for the input parameters of round is the name, round, and then in close brackets, the value that you're putting into round to round. So in this case, it's going to be the GPA percentage, which is 79.09090909. It goes on. And then the number of decimal places that you want to round it to. So round GPA percentage and then a 1 will convert the 13 decimal value to a 1 decimal value. So let's try it. We're going to put in GPA percentage and then a 1 to signify that it's being rounded to 1 decimal place. And we're going to save it in rounded GPA. Now we can print rounded GPA. Way! And as you can see, unlike floor division where it just chops off the float, we've actually rounded it here because it was 0.9 before and it's been rounded up to 1. So round works just the same as a human calculator. So the percentage GPA is 79.1. Good job. Now let's display our results using print. So every print function as well, this is another thing about print, will add a new line character to the end of the printed item. This is like pressing return. pressing return types a new line character every time you press it, unless you're on Google, in which case it just searches, or maybe the new line character determines this. Never mind, I don't work at Google. So you'll see below, with multiple cases of print, it's going to put each thing on a new line. So when we execute this, there we go. It's all nicely formatted as well, because in the print function, I am concatenating some of the answers together. So I've got the name. My results 1 is already a string. It can be concatenated because it's a string in a string. And then the comma means that you can place variables in with strings, and the print function will handle it all. It'll be okay. And the comma as well automatically places a space between your variables and the string as well. So that's the formatting for this. I've converted my percentage to an integer again, so it's rounded because we didn't store that in a variable at the time. And that's it, printed out. That's advanced example 2. That's it, finished now. The next video up next is CSV files and libraries as well. So we're covering libraries at the beginning of the next lesson, and then quickly moving on to basic Python graph plotting in the next video. In Python 4, we'll do basic graph plotting. And then we will have all of the tools needed to understand what we're doing when we plot a graph in Python, using the code and functions from libraries such as Matplotlib, NumPy, and Pandas as well. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.